In 1978, a TWA pilot named Barry is flying like any normal day with his co-pilot. But out of boredom or maybe just thrill-seeking, he suddenly switches off the autopilot. The plane jerks, passengers panic, and while everyone thinks something has gone terribly wrong, Barry just smiles.
Apologies from the flight deck. Just a little bit of turbulence.
After his shift, he heads home to Louisiana, where he lives with his wife Lucy and their child. The next day after work, Barry doesn't go straight home. Instead, he relaxes at a bar. While he's enjoying his drink, a man approaches him. Barry is surprised because this stranger seems to know everything about him, including his flight achievements and even his secret side job, smuggling luxury cigars into the United States. It turns out the man is a CIA agent named Schaefer.
You're CIA.
Shh. You have an interesting file, Barry.
What's going on here?
He takes Barry to a private aircraft hangar and shows him a brand new twin-engine plane provided by an independent aviation contractor. Barry is impressed. Then comes the proposal. Schaefer wants Barry to help the United States counter growing Soviet influence in Central America. At the time, the Cold War is at its peak, and both sides are aggressively fighting for global influence. Barry learns that his first mission is to secretly photograph pro-Soviet rebel activity across Central America. Schaefer reminds him that this operation is strictly classified. No one can know, not even Lucy. Back home, Barry tries to get permission from Lucy to switch careers from a commercial pilot to a cargo pilot, without mentioning the CIA offer. Lucy instantly refuses. Being a pilot provides good benefits, job security, and health insurance, and she sees no reason to change. The following day, Barry goes back to work at TWA like nothing happened. But right before takeoff, he makes a bold decision. He walks away from the plane and commits to Schaefer's mission. He had no idea how far this choice would take him. This is American-made. From that point on, Barry becomes a covert pilot, flying low over dangerous territory in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador to gather intelligence on Soviet-backed rebels.
The CIA wanted snaps of them insurgents.
Now these pictures are sensational.
Even when he's shot at, his flying skills keep him alive, and he completes the mission successfully. Schaefer is thrilled, and his superiors take notice. Barry receives a generous payout from the CIA, and soon he gets another assignment. This time, he's delivering cash to a colonel in Panama, a key informant selling information about rebel movements in Central America.
The CIA was so happy with my work. Bagman.
After the mission, Barry goes home again like nothing happened, keeping the secret from Lucy. He also doesn't tell her that he has officially quit working as a TWA pilot. While on one of his missions, Barry runs low on fuel and is forced to land in Colombia. As soon as he touches down, a group of men approaches him. Without much explanation, they escort him to a house.
Gasolina.
In the car.
Inside, he meets Jorge Ochoa, Carlos later, and a man who would later become infamous worldwide, Pablo Escobar. Together, they run a growing cocaine business known as the Medellin Cartel, although at this point, their operation is still far from legendary. Jorge sees potential in Barry. He knows Barry understands American flight routes and has direct access to the United States.
Difficulties getting our exports to your country, Mr. Seal.
So he makes an offer. Fly cocaine into America for $2,000 per kilogram. The cartel has been struggling to get their product into the country, and Barry might be the solution. There is only one major challenge. The runway at their base is incredibly short. Beyond it is thick jungle and steep mountains. Many pilots have already died trying to take off from this exact spot. Barry asks if there is another option, but the Colombian military is monitoring every other airstrip in the region. So this risky runway is the only way out. Caught between fear for his life and the promise of unbelievable money, Barry eventually agrees. He sets one condition. He will not land in Miami. Instead, he will drop the cargo mid-air through a hatch in the plane. With that deal in place, Barry attempts his first takeoff. The runway is short, the plane is heavy, and the trees ahead seem closer every second. Somehow, thanks to his incredible flying skill, he manages to lift off just in time and heads toward the United States with 300 kilograms of cocaine on board.
Look at
Once he reaches American airspace, he flies dangerously low to avoid radar detection. When he finally reaches the drop location near the swamps of Miami, he switches on autopilot and releases the cargo. The delivery is a success and the celebration is wild, but it does not last long. Colombian forces raid the location and everyone is arrested. Barry is taken to prison. Soon after, Schaefer appears and pulls Barry out, arranging extradition and transferring the case to Louisiana. To protect the operation and avoid public exposure, Schaefer orders Barry and his family to relocate immediately to a small town called Mena in Arkansas. Barry returns home after being gone for days. Lucy is confused and worried. Before sunrise, he tells the family they are moving, and they leave without explanation. When they arrive in Mena, the place feels abandoned, almost eerie. Then Schaefer shows Barry what waits for him.
That's an easy fix.
This is all yours.
A house, land, a private airstrip, hangars, and new aircraft. All of it covering around 8 square kilometers, fully funded and controlled by the CIA.
This whole airport? Congratulations.
That is when Barry receives his next assignment. The United States wants him to fly weapons into Nicaragua. At the time, Nicaragua has shifted towards Soviet influence, and America wants to support a rebel group called the Contras. To do that, they send Soviet-made AK-47 rifles that were originally seized by Israel from Soviet-backed Palestinian fighters. Barry eventually returns home, but things are tense. Lucy is furious because he is always gone, leaving her to manage everything alone with almost no proper facilities, and she is pregnant. To calm her down, Barry hands over stacks of cash and upgrades the house with everything she needs. The anger fades quickly once the money starts talking.
I am working for the CIA.
All right.
Soon after, he heads back to Nicaragua for another mission. But when he arrives, he is surprised. The people there have no interest in the weapons he brings. Instead, they are fascinated by his shoes, sunglasses, and accessories.
Howdy, amigos.
To them, those items are worth more than guns. On his next run, Barry adapts. He brings alcohol and adult magazines as gifts. Not long after, Jorge and the others show up with new information. The Contras have struck a deal. They are not actually interested in weapons. What they really want is cocaine to resell. Meanwhile, the Medellin cartel wants weapons, so the entire exchange flips. Barry delivers guns to the cartel and flies back carrying cocaine for the Contras. At this point, Barry has become a double agent in the shadows. He works for the CIA, and at the same time, he works for the cartel. Business grows fast, so Barry recruits 4 more pilots. With 5 planes operating, the cargo increases, and the money pours in faster than he can count.
I'm just a gringo who always delivers.
Meanwhile, the United States continues supporting the Contras through more than weapons. They begin full military training operations. Schaefer assigns Barry and his team to transport fighters and even uses Barry's own facilities as a training base.
Whatever you need, boss.
With every successful mission, Barry's value rises. The CIA expands operations, and Barry's income skyrockets.
We're expanding operations, Barry.
By 1982, he is living like a king. He renovates his home, opens businesses, and stores millions across multiple banks in Mena. The once quiet town now thrives on his underground economy. He buys a massive Hercules aircraft to streamline his operations and gifts his wife a luxury car with spending money included.
A little something extra in there.
Okay, you need to behave.
And still, the money keeps coming. So much that banks are not enough. Barry hides stacks in his house, in storage, and even buries bags of cash underground. Sometime later, Lucy's younger brother JB moves in. Barry gives him a simple job cleaning the airplane hangar. At first, everything seems normal, but soon JB's careless behavior starts showing. One day, he suddenly pulls up with a brand new car. Barry questions him, and JB admits he bought it using stolen money from Barry's stash. Barry warns him to stop. Flashy spending could expose everything and attract law enforcement. JB seems to understand, but the damage has already begun. One night, while Barry and his crew are flying a routine mission, a DEA aircraft intercepts them and orders them to land.
We are ordering you to land immediately.
Barry uses the same trick as before. He flies dangerously low, weaving and circling until the DEA jet burns through fuel and is forced to break pursuit.
Low fuel.
We gotta turn around, guys.
Meanwhile, the FBI begins noticing something strange. Financial activity in the small town of Mina suddenly spikes. A place that once looked dead is now flooded with unexplained cash. The change is too obvious to ignore, so federal agents begin investigating. A few days later, while Barry is in the air again, another DEA jet locks onto him.
This is the United States Border Patrol.
Shit.
We are ordering you to land.
This time, he takes an even bigger risk. He lands the plane right on a public road, abandons it, and grabs a kid's bike. He hands the stunned child a pile of cash and pedals away before agents arrive. Somehow, he gets away again. But trouble is growing on both sides. The Medellin cartel is also under pressure. Their operations are attracting too much attention, and Pablo Escobar is openly defying the Colombian government. With police closing in, Escobar flees to Nicaragua, moving both himself and the cartel's product. Barry is soon summoned to Nicaragua for an urgent meeting with Medellin leadership. Barry and Pablo travel together to meet the Interior Minister of Nicaragua. They need political protection and official permission for Barry's planes to freely land and take off in the country. The deal seems to be moving forward smoothly until Barry receives a phone call mid-meeting. JB has been arrested in the United States. He was acting suspiciously while carrying a suitcase full of cash.
Stop running!
Honey, I hate to tell you this right now, but JB has been arrested. That really shit.
Barry immediately rushes back to America. Jorge offers to handle the situation, but Barry refuses. He manages to bail JB out using Barry's endless supply of money. Realizing JB has become a liability, Barry tells him to leave the country and gives him a bag full of cash to disappear. JB storms off angrily, demanding that Barry continue sending money.
Hey, you're gonna start sending me cash on the fucking regular. You understand?
But before he gets far, JB's car explodes. Medellin decided JB was a risk. The cartel had reached the same conclusion as Barry, but they solved it permanently. Barry quietly disposes of the wreck by dragging it deep into the forest and covering it with leaves. Meanwhile, Schaefer is facing problems of his own. His superiors confront him because the Contra operation has shown no real progress. On top of that, the CIA has discovered that many of the weapons they supplied ended up with the cartel instead. The training program in Mina is shut down immediately. Schaefer speaks with Barry one last time, letting him know he is aware of Barry's betrayal. He does nothing to stop him, but he also abandons his identity.
You put anything with Barry Seal's face or name on it, what do you do with it? Burn it. You burn it.
The name Schaefer was never real. His true name is Monty. Both men begin destroying every document tied to the operation, but before Barry can finish, he is ambushed by the DEA.
Seal! DA! Nobody move! FBI! ATF! Drop your weapon!
Multiple agencies join the arrest, including ETF, local police, and the FBI. Barry is taken to court and faces a prosecutor named Dennis Deborah, someone who has been waiting a long time to bring him down. The list of charges is overwhelming, including gun trafficking, drug smuggling, and laundering massive amounts of money. Life in prison seems inevitable. Then something unexpected happens.
Miss Sabota, I have Governor Clinton on the line.
The governor calls and orders Barry's release. He is labeled an asset to the nation.
Wait a minute, huh?
No. I'll be seeing you, Seal.
Government staff pick him up and bring him to the White House. There, Barry is asked to help once again. The United States wants evidence against the Medellin cartel and proof that the Sandinistas are working with them in the drug trade. That proof would fuel political propaganda and damage Nicaragua's Soviet-aligned government during the Cold War. And Barry is the perfect person for the job because he already has deep ties with Medellin. In 1984, Barry begins the final phase of his mission. Flying a modified Hercules aircraft, he carries out the operation smoothly.
Let's see your angle.
His long history with the Medellin network makes the mission effortless, and the United States government celebrates his success. But the celebration does not last. A few days later, the government releases photos from the operation to the public. One of those photos shows Barry clearly inside the aircraft. With that single mistake, everything changes. The cartel now knows he betrayed them. Barry is furious because the leak puts his life and his family in danger. Still, he remains calm around his wife and children, and even makes time to enjoy quiet moments with them, knowing the clock is ticking. Not long after, the FBI arrives and arrests him on drug trafficking charges. Every asset he owns is seized. His planes, houses, businesses, everything disappears overnight. Trying to protect his family, Barry sends Lucy and the children back to Louisiana. In court, his situation seems hopeless, but surprisingly, the judge gives him a reduced sentence. Instead of prison, he is ordered to complete 1,000 hours of community service, recognizing that he also worked as an asset for the country. Barry knows he is being hunted, so he constantly moves from hotel to hotel. During this time, he records video diaries documenting his life, as if preparing for what might happen next. But one detail works against him. His mandatory check-ins are always at the same building. That single routine makes him easy to track. One day, the Medellin cartel finally catches up with him. Barry is shot and killed on the spot. After his death, the FBI recovers his video recordings and classifies them as government property. Life moves on for the people involved. Schaefer, or Monty, is promoted to CIA station chief. One of Barry's pilot partners leaves the criminal world behind and becomes a pastor. The other three simply disappear from the records. The CIA continues its covert missions, and one of their aircraft is later shot down in Nicaragua. Soon after, the agency shifts to its next classified operation, known as Iran-Contra. Back in Louisiana, Lucy returns to a normal life, working behind the counter at a fast food restaurant. And that is the story of Barry Seal, a brilliant pilot whose skills put him in the middle of history, flying dangerous missions for powerful people, until the world he built finally closed in on him. So the moral of the story is, maybe don't accept mystery jobs from strangers in bars unless you enjoy chaos, crime, and biking away from the DEA on a kid's bicycle.